What's happening, everybody? We are back. Thank you for tuning into the NBA Report. You can see I'm your man, Ron, and this is my co-host, John. Oh, wait, that ain't John. What's going on? We got the legendary, the Podfather, Sim is in the building with us today, holding it down. Thank you, sir.
Good. What's going on with you, man? Appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Definitely happy to have you holding it down with me. It's a special occasion. It's a holiday season. So John and my man Jose, they're on holiday leave right now. So I'm holding it down. And Sim, did me the gracious honor of granting me his presence for this NBA report. So I appreciate him. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Now I appreciate being here, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate you all. And best wishes to the Randall family and best of health. You know what I mean? So I'm glad to see that in the chat. Man.
Yeah, man, that's really nice. I'm assuming a lot of y'all have already seen the video that was just put up that we just did with Sim about the whole Randall situation, which it's not a good look for the NBA. It's not a good look for the New York Knicks. You don't wish any bad, ill will stuff on any player, no matter if you like them or not. That's just not the right move. So hopefully it's a speedy, fast recovery for him, and best wishes to him and his family. Because, another thing I was thinking about that we didn't even touch on is we don't know like how strict they are about the situation. If he is in a situation where he actually has the virus, maybe he's not even with his family. Maybe he's staying away. So, that's serious stuff, man. Nobody wants to go through that.
I know, if it were me, got a newborn at home, I'd say, you know what? I'll stay away. And he probably is, because they're on a road trip. Family's probably back in New York City, so maybe he gets a chance to just stay in OKC or wherever they are, until, in quarantine in a hotel somewhere. Listen, he's going to quarantine in a lavish hotel someplace, you know what I'm saying? So he's going to get a chance to chill, quarantine in a nice hotel someplace, probably got the Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5, got everything he needs except for his family. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that'll be, it might be good for him to just get a little bit of rest. Not this way though. Not this way. We don't want him to have COVID, but he'll get a chance to get a little bit of rest and sit back in one of those luxury hotels.
Yeah, we definitely want him to rest up.
Yeah, I'll quarantine in one of those hotels. Remember when I went to Jamaica? Well, remember I went to Jamaica?
Right.
And ladies and gentlemen, when I went to Jamaica, it was like my insurance was like, if you get COVID while you're here, you got to quarantine before you can leave, and you will quarantine on the resort in your room. You don't know how tempted I was to go every place and say, hey, come here. Cough for a second. Just so I can hang out on a resort.
Yeah, and I will say that from what I know, they try their best to make people feel as comfortable throughout these situations, because we know that the COVID situation and health and safety protocols is a lot better now because they've had time to work with it. But in the beginning, being away from your family, and if you got sick and all that stuff, being in the hospital, nobody can visit you. Nobody want to go through that. So yeah. So Definitely, man. As always, we gonna keep bringing you that fire content. Hopefully, y'all appreciate it and enjoy it. And definitely, if you haven't already, put the thumbs up and put your thoughts in the chat about the new intro. I think it's fire. Thank you to someone in here with us that knows how to do things on the ones and twos. His name rhymes with Bim. I'm just saying. So yeah, I think that's a fire intro. So thank you for blessing us, Sim, and hopefully y'all in the chat like it too. And if you haven't already done so, please go and check out the Still Knicks Fans site on YouTube. Hit that like, subscribe, comment. Definitely hit that notification bell for all notifications so you notify when we drop every piece of content, and do the same for Nothing But Knicks. Some of y'all are here and y'all heard about the show. You just coming in now. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that all notification button. There's a lot of content for you. So,
no doubt.
That being said, let me break it down with my usual thing. You know how I get into it. Let you guys know how the Eastern Conference is looking from the top team to the worst team to our Knicks team. And once again, we starting off with those Brooklyn Nets. They are still atop the Eastern Conference at 23-9. They have won 2 in a row. They're basically playing the same type of good basketball we've been used to seeing them play, regardless of how many people they've had out. At one point, I think they had 10 people out with the health and safety protocols. So, and that's not even to mention injuries, like guys like Harris being out. Like, oh man, I don't know how they do it, but that's just a testament to what's going on over there. And let's not forget, Steve Nash is their coach. And as much as we've clowned him in the past, I don't know if it's just the players being vets and they know how to do it because they're so good, or a little bit of Nash too. Nash is a winner; he's an MVP, so maybe he just needed a little time. So let's hold off on that. And then bringing up the rear, the Detroit Pistons are still in the basement of the Eastern Conference with a 5-28 record. They've lost 4 games, which is pretty good because usually the streaks are a lot more than that. So. I guess they'll take it. You know what I mean? And last but not least, our New York Knicks have actually made some progress. They moved up from the 12th spot, and now they're in the 9th position with a 17-18 record, winners of their last 3 games. So you know what? Listen, all right, we take it, man. Knicks is doing a little something, Sam. A little something. We gotta take it for what it is.
A little something. It didn't feel like it last night after almost losing to the Pistons. It didn't feel like
right.
It felt like we lost the game, but they're doing something. 3 games,
right.
Their last 3 games, they've held teams to under 90 points per game, regardless of who they played. They still held them to under 90 points per game. So I mean, look, this Detroit Pistons team, I think they played San Antonio just before they played us, and they scored 109 points. The Knicks held them to under 90. Right. And it was the same team that was out there on the floor. As a matter of fact, they may have had 1 or 2 players more against us than they did against San Antonio. But listen, they're in the league. Everyone's going through the same thing. You play who's on your schedule, and whoever's playing at that time, that's who you go up against. So, I'll take the win.
Yeah, listen. They know. What's that? I forgot the phrase, but the bottom line is they ain't always pretty. Okay, so you got to take it for what it is. Yeah, pretty. So let me jump into the Southeast Division real quick. Do a little quick rundown. Just hit the top 3 teams because there's a lot of stuff to cover and we want to kind of give you a little bit of something for each. But in the Southeast Division, you got the Miami Heat, who are 22-13 right now. They've won their last 4 in a row, and the interesting thing about Miami, it's the same thing that you look at with Brooklyn for whatever reason, and they've had a lot like this. This health and safety protocol has run through every team, and even the teams that at some point got hit with a couple losses, couple plays. It stacks up. like, so all these teams, the first team, was Chicago. They got hit with 10 at some point. So like even Miami started to get hit early, and now it's kind of compiled, and they've had other people. Like I took a list at the full COVID player list earlier today. Man, the names, I don't even know. Like it had to be almost half the NBA. It is crazy. It is crazy.
Yeah.
But they're still winning, Sim. I mean, 22-13, winning 4 in a row.
You see, with Miami, it has to be the culture that's there, right? They just have this culture in place that it's going to be the next person up, the next person up, the next person up, and they've been doing it like that for years and years and years. So it's just this is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to come to Miami, you're going to play in Miami. I think around the league, people probably know. Listen, this is what it's going to be like if you go to Miami. So be prepared for it. And I think the Knicks are trying to build that same type of reputation.
Right. Yeah, you would hope.
I think it has to be that, the next man up. And with Pat Riley there, he's able to bring in talent. And then, when you got good coaches, good scouts that understand when you have a style of play, you don't always have to get the super talent. You want the super talent, but you can bring in guys that fit that style and can do certain things and can play certain roles. And teams like Miami, who's been doing it for a very long time, they know. I mean, how long has they've had the same coaching staff, head coach, for years and years and years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he has a style, and he's able to pick and pluck players and say, you know what, this guy can fit in. He can do this. He can do this. He can play defense. He can rebound. He can shoot threes. He's good at setting screens and put the puzzle piece together. Now, a team like Brooklyn, I can't say that they have this great culture because, they got a lot of pieces just from everywhere, but they got talent. They got talent. So there's a couple ways to win in this league: talent, culture, chemistry. Brooklyn has talent.
Right. I mean, yeah, they're able to get by.
Even without Kyrie there, you can always have a James Harden or a KD. You got LaMarcus Aldridge. You got Blake Griffin. You know what I'm saying? And so there's a lot of talent on the team. And when KD goes out, if KD and James Harden is out, you have enough talent for guys to say, you know what, I can channel my inner all-star for 2 games. So that's the thing about having talent.
That's what makes him so special. And believe me, I know Brooklyn is happy to have him. So I hear you about that. And so, and the other good thing about Miami, which is a fun story, it's cool for them, is the fact that they did bring, Mario Chalmers back for that 10-day contract. And, that's a nice thing. Like, no matter if you didn't like Miami back in the day, still it's a good look for them to bring back somebody that helped them with a lot of success.
Yeah.
So
and that's another
pretty cool
example of the team understanding that Mario Chalmers knows the culture, right? He was with Eric Spoelstra for a while, so he knows what to expect. He knows what Eric Spoelstra wants to do. Why not bring in a guy that understands the coach? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
right. Good point.
That's another example of them, having a culture and bringing in a guy that understands the culture, knows exactly what to do, and so he can come in. It's for 10 games. He can come in and maybe play at the level that he was playing a long time ago for 10 games.
Right. Yeah. They won't even miss a beat.
Right.
Speaking of not missing a beat, man, they went through a little bit of a issue, but they've got it back to where it needs to be. They seem to be getting back to their winning ways. Maybe they had a couple hiccups over there, but the Charlotte Hornets are in second place in the Southeast Division at 19-17, and they've won their last 3 in a row. And they're kind of the weird thing about Charlotte is, I don't know, they're not fool's gold. I think they're a pretty good team. I think that maybe they got off to a pretty good start, and people started to think that they were better than they are, kind of like the Knicks. Although they've sustained a little bit, better culture over there than we've had this first couple of months in the league. But they seem to be, their main issue to me is that they're young. They just haven't done it together yet, and now they got guys that are starting to come back. They're getting healthy. So I think that's really helping them, because I do like that team. I think they're young, they're fast, and they're showtimey too. But I think it all works. I think it works with what they're trying to do over there.
Yeah, they've got kind of a culture that they're building there as well. Even when a few years ago when they weren't that good, they played hard. Anytime you played the Hornets, it was like, this team plays hard, and they've kind of continued that standard. And now you add guys like Miles Bridges, who's there, LaMelo Ball, James Bouknight, and now they have talent that can come in and add to that level of play. Gordon Hayward is there. This is a team that they're not going to win it all, but when they're fully healthy and they're playing hard like they do, they can scare somebody, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, and they were getting a lot of kudos for their win over the Pacers. The tandem of LaMelo and Terry Rozier, it looks like they're working really good together. So I mean, I kind of like I've always had this thing in the back of my mind that Terry Rozier was going to be a Knick at some point, but maybe it's not going to happen now. They look like they're working out over there.
Yeah, it does. You know what I mean? Because LaMelo Ball is a distributor. Terry Rozier is more of a scorer, so it's a natural fit, a little bit,
right?
Because LaMelo Ball, is not worried about if he's getting 20. I'm not saying that Terry Rozier is worried about getting 20 a game, but LaMelo Ball is a little bit more willing to facilitate. He has the natural. It's natural for him to facilitate, to find people that are open and do those type of things. Where it's more natural for Scary Terry to just be aggressive and attack.
Mm-hmm.
So it's working.
Right.
It's working.
Yeah.
That's the Knicks play the Charlotte Hornets. I hate to play the Hornets.
I agree with you. I'm with you. It's a bad matchup.
Yeah, I feel like they give us fits every time we play.
Yep.
That's Jay Williams said. Charlotte is playing the mismatch game. Big point, small power forward. Playoff time will expose them. It could be tough, but you know what? This is the way the league is going a lot. Right? Where
that's true.
They want length all over the floor, not just at your power forward and center positions, but they want it from the point guard to the center position, even if that means you have maybe a smaller power forward or a smaller power forward, because today your power forwards aren't the same bruisers like Charles Oakley and them guys or Anthony Mason. Right? They're different. Right. They want to shoot outside. They're a little bit more finesse. You have a couple of guys who are bruisers, but they're a little more finesse. So if you have a power forward that's 6'10", but they play outside, you can put a smaller power forward on them and still defend them. Now, that longer guy has a problem defending the smaller guy. I do agree with Jay Williams, though, when you get deep in the playoffs, if the Hornets were to get there, or any team that has small power forward, when you get deeper in the playoffs, the teams probably have a bigger, stronger power forward, and it might cause some problems.
Right. No, I agree with that. So, here's an interesting thing. And like, I don't know, I think sometimes maybe I'm so caught up in the Knicks, I don't always follow what's going on with the other teams in the NBA. There's certain things that I'm looking at, I'm checking highlights, I'm seeing but then there's certain things that I thought might have already been done, and I'm kind of surprised they weren't. And one of those things is with the Washington Wizards, for example. They are 17-17, obviously led by Bradley Beal, Montrezl Harrell, Kyle Kuzma. We saw them come up against us recently and beat us with a team that I didn't think was worthy of beating us. But hey, they beat us, so I have to stand corrected. And they pulled out that game. But I think that there's two things that are really interesting about Washington. One is that they've definitely come back down to earth. they were like looking like they were, on another planet for a minute. So
Right.
yeah, so that definitely happened, right? And then the other thing that I thought was really surprising is that Bradley Beal finally got vaccinated, which I had thought that this was already done, but I guess because of the protocols and the way it's set up in different cities, it wasn't a big deal for him, so he was able to play. But now it's mandated. What you think about that, Sam?
I'm glad he did it. So that he can play, and it's not gonna stop him or anybody else from getting COVID, as we see. But
Right.
it gives him at least a little bit of extra protection. But in DC right now, let me tell you, in DC, COVID is up 1,300%. I live in Maryland. I'm 20 minutes outside of DC. It's up
Wow.
1,300%. All right.
Wow.
Now, 1,300%. So yeah, they're putting in mandates, and they're scrambling to try to figure out, all right, what do we do? Hospitals are starting to get crowded. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit of a scramble. I mean, right now I know 15 people that I know who have the virus. So it's a little crazy in DC with the way that it's spreading, and of course it's coming into Maryland the same way. Some high schools are going back to being virtual for at least a short period of time. Athletic games are being canceled. My team, we wanted to schedule some games in DC against some teams in DC, and in order to do so, which was okay by us, but in order to do so, they said your players have to be vaccinated in order to come play. And, so it's
wow.
It's heavy in DC right now. It's definitely a big hot spot throughout the country for the virus.
Yeah, and I think New York might be the same way. It's just the numbers of vaccinated people in New York may be a lot higher. So statistic wise, they probably, I don't know if things are different, but to me, it doesn't really seem like there's much difference now compared to in the past. Whatever's going on with this particular variant is running through everybody. It doesn't matter if you're vaccinated or not. It's just all about, your immune system and how being vaccinated helps you. But the potency of it spreading, this thing is spreading like wildfire. It's like, this is like a California wildfire.
I'm telling you, it's spreading quick. Boom, people just pop, 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 pop. You just look at somebody, oh, I got it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy.
And else.
Well, and then that, that's a segue into the first team that I had mentioned already that was really hit hard initially. Like they were the first team, at least that I know of in the NBA, that got hit with a bunch of people at one time. And then over that same week, next thing you know, they had 10 people affected. And that's the Chicago Bulls. Now, if y'all didn't know that the Chicago Bulls was being run a little better than our New York Knicks, Chicago Bulls have been hit very hard with this virus. They are 22-10 right now, winners of their last 5 in a row. How does Chicago do that amidst all of this stuff going on? It's crazy to me that they're able to put out such a good product like that and continue to win these games, because we all said there's a lot of parity in the East. The teams are just knocking each other off, yet somehow Chicago's able to withstand this. I don't know, Sim. I mean,
you know what?
Crazy.
Right now, with the way the league is, your scouts might be the most important people in the organization. Right? Your scouts who are going out to G League games, who are watching players overseas, who know that this guy is free or that guy is free, and scouts that understand how you want to play, though they might be the most important people in the organization right now. Because with so many players being out, you've got to pick and pluck players that you think are going to give you production.
Right.
And maybe Chicago just has some good people in place to say, hey, we need this. Let's bring this guy in. Let's bring that guy in. Listen, there's former all-stars out there that can come in and give you a good 3-4 games. You just got to be able to pick them up and let them know, hey, this is a 10-day contract. We'll give you that 100K, but you might not play the full 10 days. Depends on who comes back.
Right.
So, maybe that's what it's about with them. I mean, yeah, they're 22-10, 8-2 in the last 10 games.
Could be. I mean, I'm saying some of these retreads, maybe that's not the best term, but some of these guys that used to be in the league and used to be stars in the league that are coming back and getting these second chances, some of them look pretty good. Like Greg Monroe's look pretty good out there. Like some of these guys look like they still got it. They could be out there.
Greg Monroe, I was surprised that I was like, wait a minute, how did Minnesota know that Greg Monroe was? I mean, obviously, I guess everybody knows that he's out there.
Right.
No one's really thinking, hey, let's pick this guy up. But they had a nose for it. Say, hey, let's bring him in for a little while. Because he looks strong. Obviously, he's a vet that can play basketball. He can rebound it. He can block some shots. He can give you some buckets in the post. And you don't need the guy to be a star for you. You just need him to be a star in his role.
Right. And he looks fluid, like smooth, though. Yeah. I'm kind of surprised, though. But the one thing about Greg Monroe, he always had a smooth game. He could always do certain things very well. Obviously, I just didn't like Greg Monroe, and you know what? I had forgot about it. I don't know who reminded me. Was it Josh or it was somebody on the show recently that reminded me of what he said when it was time to come to the Knicks, how he did not want to come here because he didn't like the team we had. Now, granted, our team wasn't good at that time. Some might call it trash, but that wasn't the point. The point is we needed a shot in the arm, and he could have showed himself being one of those stand-up type of NBA players that wants to help turn a team around, but he's not that guy. So it is what it is.
Can I jump in here for 1 second? We're talking about
We're
talking about teams, being smart, scouting well, and making smart decisions during this time when players are injured, when through COVID and all of that. And then somebody mentioned it earlier in the chat, so I don't want to make it look like I just figured this out and found it myself. I don't remember who it was. I'm sure they'll say it was me and raise their hand shortly. But the Cleveland Cavaliers, they lost Ricky Rubio.
Right.
And now they're replacing him with Rajon Rondo. Right? They are acquiring Rajon Rondo from the Los Angeles Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the trade is right now, but that is that right there. The Cleveland Cavaliers, they're 20-14. That's a very good pickup. He does exactly what Rajon Rondo does. He's a smart basketball player. He can play defense. He's going to keep the offense flowing, right? He's a pass-first guy. Very, large basketball IQ, good basketball IQ. That's a smart pickup. That's just another example of a team understanding how they're playing basketball and finding a guy that they can pick up off of somebody's bench this time.
Man.
And he's a guy we talked about when we were saying, hey, the Knicks need a point guard. The Knicks need a leader. Rajon Rondo's name came up. You know what I mean? He could be. He's a leader, and I think the Knicks needed a guy like that. We missed out on him now, of course, because he's on his way to Cleveland.
Right. And that it also goes that whole thing. Well, NBA teams are not necessarily trying to trade anybody throughout this health and safety protocols. Yeah, some teams is pulling it off.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, if you traded for Rajon Rondo, then the question would have been, all right, where does he play? Does Derrick Rose sit? Does Kimba sit? Whatever the case is. But still, this team needs a leader. Someone who's not afraid to command the ship. And we don't have that right now. Everybody's kind of friendly. Kimba has said, he didn't want to step on nobody's toes. Rajon Rondo doesn't care.
But he does not.
Nobody's toes or not. He's coming in to do his job.
Yeah, that's a fact.
So we need a leader like that. He's going to Cleveland. We'll see how it works out there in Cleveland. I think it'll probably work out well because he's going to fit right in to what Ricky Rubio was doing. I think that's a good pickup for Cleveland.
Yeah. Good for Cleveland. I mean, listen, some of these teams, they just whoever's pushing the buttons over there, it seems to be that they know a little bit more about the dynamic of their team and what they're trying to do than some of the fans. Because I remember, when we had saw what they were doing in the draft and free agent wise, we were like, why are they getting all these big guys to play similar positions? It's worked out pretty well for them.
It has. So
yeah,
we'll see what they do. Everybody thought Cleveland was all right. They're playing well for a little while, and then they're going to fall off. They haven't. They're there.
They have not.
They're strong. They're 5th in the East, 20-14, 7-3 in the last 10. And I don't even think they're fully healthy.
No, right. They're not. And they won their last 4 in a row. Playing good basketball, man. And the other thing about them is they play, because they're such a young team for the most part, they play like a lot of exciting up and down basketball. It's fun to watch. Let me not say too much about Cleveland, because last time I was saying, hey, Cleveland is a team I like to check out, even though I'm a Knicks fan. And somebody said I wasn't a real Knicks fan, or real Knicks fans can't root for other teams. I was like, I wasn't saying all that. I just think I like basketball, man. I'm like, what's wrong with that?
Right.
Like, all right. But anyway, so there's no need for us to touch on Cleveland. We already covered them basically. But Milwaukee's 23-13, and they've won their last 4 in a row. And once again, the beat keeps moving, man. Milwaukee is just like, they are now. I'm gonna give it to them, man. I could say that Milwaukee is that team. They are elite, and they are going down as one of those perennial playoff teams to me. Now, I think they've solidified themselves.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Early in the season they had some injuries. They were struggling. They've got healthy. Now they're back doing what you expected them to do. And they're another team that has a leader at that point guard position. And I'm not ishing on Kimba. I'm just saying Drew Holiday, he's a tough, defensive-minded leader out there. I was watching, maybe it was against the Knicks. I don't know. I was watching the Bucks play. Maybe it was on Christmas. Yeah, it was on Christmas. And Giannis was at the top of the key. It was a close game. Giannis was at the top of the key, clapping his hands for the ball. Drew Holiday was on the wing. Instead of giving him the ball, he penetrated to the basket. Right? Giannis, he didn't cry, he didn't complain, he didn't pout. He seen that Drew went to the basket. He cut along with him, and then Drew found him. He gets the bucket and one. Right? That's the kind of guy the Knicks need. A guy that's not afraid to say no.
Right. Yeah. I don't know, for whatever reason, we seem to not be able to get that type of production or type of I guess culture with this current Knicks team. And then we're not quick to pick up people that may be able to even help us with that. I mean, it takes certain guys out there are special guys. And obviously, if they're on teams already, those teams don't really want to give them up unless you really make it worth their while. But then you got other guys. I mean, due to all these health and safety protocols, you've seen so many different guys come back into the league and jump on these teams, guys who have had a cup of coffees around the league. And you're like, man, I think that guy's still a good player and he can do some things. But how come the Knicks don't make a run at him? For example, since we're talking about the Milwaukee Bucks, DeMarcus Cousins. DeMarcus Cousins may not have the same game that he used to have, in the past. He's obviously been through a lot, and the injury definitely sapped some of his athleticism, well, a lot of his athleticism actually, and age has kind of worked towards that. He's not an old player, but he's older than he was. So all that has affected him. But you know what? In that Buck system with good players and guys who play defense, he's averaging 8.4 points, 5.8 rebounds, an assist in about 16 minutes per game in the last 12 games. I mean, I think the Knicks could use a player like that. I don't know if any of our bigs are averaging anything of that nature. So, yeah, I could see how the Knicks could definitely use a guy like that. But we didn't make a move. So,
Yeah, I guess because with Obi and Randall and Taj and Nerlens and Mitch, they probably, and then Jericho Sims, they probably like, where's he gonna fit in? And I think
right.
that's what it is with a lot of the moves that we suggest, even with Ray John Rondo. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you acquired him for a second round pick, let's say, where's he fit in on this team? Who's he playing over? Is he playing over Kimba? Is he playing over Rose? Do we want to put him in the lineup over McBride? Wouldn't you rather just say let's rock with McBride since he's a young guy? We have enough vets, so I get that too.
Right.
I just want a
Right.
leader.
That's a good point.
I just want a leader with the Knicks. But these other teams are finding ways. Now, see, when you're a team like the Bucks, guys like DeMarcus Cousins, there's so much less pressure on them. Because the
Mm-hmm.
team is already good. You got the guys that's going to do the heavy lifting, and Drew Holiday, and Giannis, Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, etc. They're going to do the heavy lifting. All you got to do is come in, give a couple of hard minutes, and get out of there. So it makes it a little
Right.
bit easier when you go to a team like the Bucks.
Right.
A team like
Right.
the Knicks. If you pick up somebody like that, I mean, right now when the Knicks make a move, I feel like most of their moves, there's going to be two. There's going to be moves at the end of the bench that maybe clear up cap space, or just set you up for something later on. Even if it don't have to be this year, it could be next year or the year after, or it's going to be a big move. I don't think there's going to be something in the middle because there's too many guys in the middle already.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I think it's going to be something that's at the end of the bench that sets you up for other moves or a big move. It's the only thing I could see.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I think that's going to be the case. I mean, we still don't know, if a lot of moves are going to be made because of everything going on. But if things do start to open up and trading starts to happen, I'd be very interested to see what the Knicks do, because I do think they will make a move, whether it be a big move or a small move. I don't know, but I'm interested to see what they might pull off. We already pretty much touched on, the Brooklyn Nets and what they've been doing and how they're continuing to win basketball games, and they're top of the Eastern Conference. But the Philadelphia 76ers is another interesting team right now in the Atlantic Division. And then after that, we'll jump into the Knicks, and then we'll take the show a little further. But the Philadelphia 76ers are a team that has gone up and down all season. And it looks like it was a point where I was like, man, nothing can stop this Philadelphia 76er team, because they just kept winning. It seemed like no matter what was going on, they were figuring out a way to win. They had a little, streak of losses, but then they rebounded quickly. And that was around the time that Embiid went down with health and safety, and Tobias Harris had just come back, right? And they were still able, but now for whatever reason, they've been having a little tough go at it, and they're 18-16, and this might be the first time that you can say, whoa, this 76er team misses Ben Simmons. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know, Sim.
They do. They miss Ben Simmons. This without a doubt. He's a good basketball player. Defender, very versatile. He can do a lot of different things on the floor. So he really does give you something at 6'10", and the ability that he has to really man that point guard position or point forward position. It's just uncanny, and a lot of teams don't have it in the league. And when you build your team around a player like that, and I don't want to say that they just straight up built it around Ben Simmons. They built around Joel Embiid. But when you have a player like that with a key cog, how do you replace it? And when you try to, you don't replace it. Now you have to play a different style of basketball. And I think that's something that, is that the Philadelphia 76ers are struggling with, right? Playing a different style of basketball. right now.
Right.
That they've been used to playing for however many years. But they're gonna have to get used to it because Ben Simmons ain't coming back.
Yeah, looks like that marriage is over.
He ain't coming back. That's gone. If he was coming back, they would have figured out something by now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He's not coming back. He's on the way, someplace else. And I think there's going to be a lot of people, hopefully Julius Randle gets healthy. Nobody wishes any ill will on him. But if the Knicks play well while he's out, there's going to be people saying trade for Ben Simmons. I've seen it already. You can guarantee that. And the report came out that said that the Knicks were interested in Ben Simmons. If the Knicks play well, oh my gosh, you already know what's going to happen. You already know,
right.
What's going to happen. And Ben Simmons is on the top of the list.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's with Ben Simmons. It's not about will he be traded. It's about when he'll be traded.
Right.
So, yeah. I mean, look.
But Daryl Morey wants so much.
Yes, he does.
And so people are questioning whether or not he really wants to trade him because he wants a lot for him. Is he going to get that much? I don't know.
Yeah, I can't see it. I can't see it.
I mean, to see where he ends up.
But here's the thing, Sim. Is he wrong for wanting so much for a guy like that who is such a game changer on defense with that height, that athleticism? And it's tough because he's a real special player. You got some guys who are good pieces that you're like, oh man, this would be a nice acquisition for my team. He's a guy that gives you something incredible out the gate, day one. Now, we don't know if he's ready for all that because he hasn't played basketball. So he may look really bad, really rusty. But when he gets it going, defense, that's his thing.
See, I don't think he's worth his contract. That's my thing about him. I don't think he's worth $35 to $40 million. That's what he's getting paid right now to sit on his butt, like $35 million. In the last year of his contract, he gets $40 to $45 million, somewhere in there. I just don't think that he's worth that amount of money. You know what I mean?
Right.
That being said, if the Knicks decided that they wanted to trade for him, I may not be in full support of it, but I'm gonna rock with him. I'll rock with him because he's on our team. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, you know what? Let's continue the discussion. You know what, and keep it going because we pretty much covered the mix of the teams in the Eastern Conference.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
See, I see Ben Simmons' handler in the chat. In the chat. This guy that's caught up on labels all the time. You know what I mean? Josh, aka Uncle Fulio. I'm not even going to get into that entire conversation. I'll just say titles do not always equate to $40 million. There's a lot of players who are 3-time All-Stars. Don't mean they're making $40 million. Just saying. So I'll just leave it there. I'm not going to engage with Uncle Fulio. Right now. Uncle Fulio, emphasis on fool.
I knew you was going to say that.
But
man.
I did want to talk, just maybe a little bit about the Hawks. They're struggling.
Oh yeah, definitely. Look, I just didn't. I don't want to come on here and seem like, because I cannot stand the Hawks. I don't want to seem like I was a Hawks hater. I'm trying to be as politically correct and diplomatic as possible on the NBA report. You know what I mean? But yeah, the Hawks are. Let me take this away real quick. I don't want to kind of intertwine the two. No Hawks and Knicks. So yeah, the Hawks are definitely they're definitely struggling. And I don't know. Do you think that for them it shows the emphasis on how important Rayford Trey Young is to that team. Now I know they. I believe he's been back for them, but the issue is when he went down, a lot of things started to get really bad for that team. Like they've lost a lot of players, and even though we thought they were pretty deep with their bench and their roster with some of the guys they got, but then you know some seems like a lot of them play the same way. It's the same style of basketball. And maybe it's too much of the same thing. Maybe they need to switch up some of that personnel over there to give them, different pieces because they all play similarly, and that way of playing is not working right now for them.
Yeah, it's not. Now they've been hit with a lot of not injuries, but some injuries and also health and safety protocol. Right, so they're dealing with that as well because they did hit a stretch where they were doing well. Right, they were playing for a little stretch, and then it started to, they started to get a lot of players in health and safety protocol. Obviously, Trey Young is out. Trey Young is the engine for that team. Without Trey Young, they're just a different team. They're totally different without Trey Young. You know what I'm saying? I expect though when they finally get healthy, they'll start to play well again. I think they will. Now, are they a Eastern Conference finalist again? I don't think so. And not by a long. I think they're a ways away from that. You know what I'm saying?
But I agree with you there.
No. Well, Trey Young is back. He is back.
Yeah, I thought he's back by now. Yeah.
Yeah, they played the Bulls. What was it, last night? Was it last night they played the Bulls? They lost 1-17.
Yeah, it was 12. Yeah, 12 hours. Yeah, they did.
Yep. Trey Young had 26 points and 11 assists. Clint Capella, 18 points, 15 rebounds. So they're getting healthy. Cam Reddish, he's playing. He's starting right now. 14 points, 2 assists last night. But now they got other guys out, right? I don't see Bogdanovich. Right, who when we played him just on Christmas, he was there.
Yeah.
Right. So it like many teams in the NBA, it's a open door of a carousel of players coming in and out the league. I mean, in and out of the team right now. So I don't know. I do think that they're going to be right now. What are they in the Eastern Conference? They're below us.
They are. Yeah, no, they are currently. Let me see here because they're 15 and 19. They're in 4th, but let me see what they are. If you got it already, they are 12th. Oh, they replaced the Knicks in the 12th spot.
Yeah, they're 12th in the Eastern Conference. They've lost their last 3 games, 3-7 in the last 10. I mean, I think they'll get back in at least a play-in by the time it's all said and done. I don't know who drops out. Hopefully it's not the Knicks, but the Celtics are 16 and 19. They're reeling. They're falling. They've lost 3 in a row. There's 3-7 in their last 10 games. Wouldn't be surprised to see them fall out.
Yeah. Now there's a lot going on in the Eastern Conference, man. It was so great in the beginning, and now you're seeing because of all these health issues, they're all knocking each other off, and the product does not look as good as it did earlier. And I know the NBA must be reeling because of all of this. It's like the title said on the thumbnail. Health and safety's is ravaging through the NBA, and I don't know when it's going to stop, because the other thing is I'm a little worried about the fact of, will all these players that were already on health and safety, will it cycle through them again? Like where does this stop? Right. It hasn't. I don't know if it's happened yet currently with any of the NBA players, at least for right now, but it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It could happen.
Yeah. I could see it cycling through and players getting it a second, third time. Because look, Julius Randle played last night. Today he's in health and safety protocol. If he has COVID, he just came into contact with 8 or 9 other players on the opposing team,
Right.
as well as on the Knicks. How do you stop that?
Yeah.
Stop that.
I don't know, man. Yeah, that's the thing. Like what are they going to really do about this? I'm telling you, I hope it doesn't happen because obviously as a fan, I want to see basketball. But if it keeps going and it starts to cycle through again, I definitely think they're going to do some type of stoppage. They just have to. Like you got to do something. It may not be a total shutdown, but you gotta have that in the back of your mind that something needs to be done. And we've already gone past the Christmas point, so the NBA were able to get to that point. I think now they would have to consider stuff a little bit more seriously.
Yeah.
So now that does bring us to the Knicks back page. Here we are, folks. For all you people that only want to talk Knicks, here we go. I'm not going to do the whole Debbie Downer thing. I think we did it a couple days ago with the fact that the Knicks have not necessarily been playing the best basketball against what we feel as fans of our team as subpar competition, right? But I will say, the Knicks did win 3 in a row. There were some things that they could have done better, and there's definitely some things they can improve on. But now that we know that with the big blow happening with Julius Randle being on health and safety protocols and him being out, we kind of talked about it a little earlier. There's going to be some type of change in the way one of these lineups looks. Maybe both, because I think somebody's going to go into that starting lineup. I think it should be Obi. We kind of touched on that, but it could be Taj. Or it could be Sim brought up an idea that depending on the competition, because I don't know too much about OKC, but when I have seen them, I've seen them play very small sometimes. It could be a very small lineup. We don't know. But what we do know is that there's going to be some type of change in what we see in that starting unit, and it could affect the bench unit as well. So this is the time for a lot of us Knicks fans who've been clamoring and hoping that Tibbs plays Obi more minutes and RJ gets a shot to kind of run the show and be that option that we think he can be. It's put up a shut up time. How do you think the Knicks are going to fare now that these young guys are probably finally going to get a good chance to show what they can do, Sam?
Oh man, it's a tough one. It really is. I'm hoping that Obi is going to perform well. I think against teams like OKC, where they're young, a lot of second, third, maybe fourth year players, I think he'll perform well. He may, I don't want to say he's not going to perform well, but he may struggle a little bit more against teams that have more established vets out there at that 4 spot. But Taj Gibson is there to kind of back him up if he does. You know what I mean? And you better believe Tom Thibodeau is going to rely on Taj Gibson if Obi is struggling a little bit. I think it's going to be okay. I do. I think it's going to be okay. In the past, especially last year, I always felt like when Randle wasn't in the game, the Knicks were looking for an anchor or didn't have an anchor on the offensive side, and so they didn't really know what to do. I think it's a little bit different this year because that second play so well together. So I think they get it a little bit more, and you don't need that anchor out there as much. So I think they're going to be all right. I
agree. I think they will too, man. And I think that we wouldn't. I think a lot of fans are very passionate about these young guys because we see something in them, and I think they will step up, and I think they will play well because I just think that we've seen spurts, different moments where we've seen that good stuff, that good basketball play, and given more time, we just think that they'll be able to do a little bit more for our team, and it's going to help them too. I think this is a good time, as we said before, like we've kind of continued to beat with the drum. We wanted the chance for the Knicks to be able to play out there and not be reliant on Julius Randle and try to do other things on the basketball court. I think any team in the NBA, when you've got a star player, say what you will, Julius is our star player. It doesn't matter what team it is, LeBron, Curry, any of these teams that got a star player. At some point, it's a good thing for that team to learn how to play basketball without relying on that star player. Because sometimes you get out there, you're like a deer in headlights, and you just expect him to bail you out all the time. It's good to move the basketball, do other things, next man up, do all these different things that help a basketball team sustain winning culture. And I think now is the time for the Knicks to do that. And I also think that hopefully Julius is healthy while he's watching. But hopefully while Julius is watching, he also sees some things with the Knicks. Maybe he sees, Alec is really – no, not even Alec, because we know Alec gets his. But, Obi can really do some things out there. RJ seems to be hitting his shot from that left side a lot. He probably looks like he likes that little spot. Hopefully Julius is like, I can see where these guys like to play, where they like the ball. Or, I should tell Deuce, he should definitely hit that move again, because that's a good move for him. Stuff like that. You just want everything to be positive and people to actually sit back and watch. Because when you're on the court doing stuff, sometimes you don't see everything. You're too concerned with what's going on the court. So I think this is a good thing, Sam. I think it's a good thing.
I agree with you. I think it could definitely end up being a good thing because, like you said, they learn how to play without Randall. The second unit already does. We know that. But the first unit will learn how to play with someone else. Obi Toppin, we hope. Now this gives Tom Thibodeau another lineup that he can throw out there that if he likes it and it looks good, that hopefully will have some chemistry together and just a way to change some things up. If Julius is not playing well, he's not hitting a shot or whatever, you can say, you know what, I don't gotta wait until 3 minutes left in the first quarter or 1 minute left in the first quarter. I can bring Obi in with 6 minutes or 7 minutes left in that first quarter because he can play with this unit. He has not,
right.
He hasn't tested it out yet. Now he's forced to test it out, but he hasn't really tested it out. Hopefully it allows Tibbs to gain some confidence in Obi, as long as Obi is the starter. Kevin Knox. We'll see what happens there. Most people believe it's probably going to be Kevin Knox, his audition for other teams. You know what I mean? So I think it could end up being a good thing where Tom Thibodeau is just forced to look at some new lineups and some new rotations and have some new ideas, get a new wrinkle in his brain.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. And if we just take a quick look at the next, what would we say? Like, how do we break this down? So the Knicks play OKC tomorrow, and you would say about maybe 10 days if everything goes well. That might take us through the back-to-backs against Boston. So Julius may be out 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 games.
Wow.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like the way the games are situated and the fact you got a home and home with Boston, even though it's still two days apart. If you stick into that 10-day window, that could be 5 games. So this is a good stretch of time. I mean, the flip side of it is you hope that the team plays well together and they continue to do what they need to do to win games. And we don't see how sorely we miss Julius. You also don't want us to fall apart either. I'm like, oh my God, we can't do anything without Julius out there.
Right.
So this is gonna be an interesting stretch. But
Rose Foxy said, "Isn't it 6 days now?" I think the NBA did show the amount of time.
Good point, Rose Foxy. Good point. Yeah, that's a good point. They did change the protocols. So, and that's barring that. Obviously, Julius has successful tests that are back-to-back negative as well. Because if they're not, because everybody's body is different. Then that could prolong things. But yeah, good point. So, all right, that definitely lessens things. So we're talking maybe 2 or 3 games if everything is right. So, but that still is a good amount of time for them to work on things together and see what they can do, and also maybe it'll give Julius that rest, because the other thing is we don't know how. I mean, he's a big guy. He's playing through injury. He doesn't complain, but we don't know how bad that he tweaked that knee. So,
Yeah, that's true. Ron, let me ask you this: if for some reason Obi does not start, Tom Thibodeau decides to go with Taj or in another direction, how pissed off do you think Obi's going to be? Because I see him sometimes when he's pulled out. When Tom Thibodeau pulls him out because he made a mistake, and he's up. He's starting to get upset when this happens. Because he's like, why are you not giving me a little bit of a longer leash?
right.
Before you snatching me back in. And if he does not start, Tom Thibodeau decides to go in another direction, I think Obi's going to be a little upset.
I could see that. I could see Obi being very upset, because one thing we've noticed about Obi, a lot of guys, or should I say a lot of fans have said that Obi sometimes appears soft because he's smiling, he's having a good time out there. Things look fun to him because he's a young guy and still he likes to play basketball. He has a lot of energy. Don't think Obi's not vocal, because we've seen Obi, snarl at Tibbs. We've seen Obi say stuff to Tibbs. Obi has said stuff on the bench when he's not happy, when he's not getting the minutes. And the other thing that Obi said when he was on health and safety is that he saw how the team needed energy. And you're going to tell me that now, our big leader, our captain, is not in the game, and I'm his backup, and you're not going to put me in the starting lineup after everything I'm trying to bring to this team, the energy that you guys are lacking? I think it's, he might look at it a certain way.
Yeah, he might. I think Tibbs and Obi have a little coach-player rivalry. I don't want to say rivalry, but, coach-player. Every player who has a coach, every coach who has a player has that one player. You like this guy, you want this guy to do well, but that player gets mad at you because he thinks he should be playing more or thinks he should be doing this or that. You know what I'm saying? I've had plenty of players like that. I think that's that kind of relationship with Obi and Tibbs right now. Not that they're arguing and fighting and blowing up in the locker room and stuff like that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I think they kind of have that relationship where Tibbs is like, I'm pulling you for any little mistake, and Obi is like, why? I'm saying, let me play.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of like that between those two right now.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. I definitely can see that. I'm hoping for the best, man.
A lot of times, and I know people, don't think that I'm trying to drum up any drama. A lot of times, those type of relationships end up being, the coach and the player end up being really, really tight in the end, right? Because the player respects that the coach is not just going to let you do anything. Larry Brown and Allen Iverson, right? I had a player who he had all the energy. He played really, really good defense, right? But he never knew where to be on the floor. Never. And he would make little mistakes here and there, and it would drive me crazy. Now, I had other players that would make some of the same mistakes, but what they brought to the game was so much more than him because they knew where to be on the floor, right? He was a point guard, right? More of a shooting guard, more of a tweener, right? I had a point guard who knew he could just run the show. 3-point guards that could just run the show, right? I had a crazy guard attack. He was kind of on the outside of those guys because he couldn't get where to be. He was a sophomore, though. He couldn't get where to be on the floor. He thought that he should be playing. Coach, why am I not playing? How come I can't get the same minutes that Cam gets? How come when Cam gets a turnover, you look at him and say, okay, what are we going to do next? But when I get a turnover, you slap the chair, right? And I had to tell him, because I'm giving you limited minutes to prove yourself and you're making a mistake. You know what I'm saying? You don't have the same leash as him. It's bottom line. That's just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But the big thing is you don't know where to be on the floor. This is why these turnovers are happening, because you're not in the right spot. You're not making the right decisions. So that's why these things are happening. You know what I'm saying? Eventually, he became one of my top players on the team. He understood, knew where to be on the floor. I got a great relationship with him. We talk not every day. We talk a lot. He's a Knicks fan now. He used to be a Bulls fan, but since Derrick Rose is playing for the Knicks, he's now a Knicks fan. You know what I'm saying? So we talk about the Knicks. Whenever I need him, I call him up so he can come out and help me out in practice and things like that. We have a beautiful relationship, but we had that kind of testy relationship while we were coaching. It happens like that. So it doesn't mean that Obi and Tibbs are going to have this bad relationship. Sometimes you go through it like that with your coaches.
Yeah, I agree. I think, sometimes that's how it is. And then there's even worse situations. There's volatile situations where people just don't like each other. Coach and player don't like each other, but they go out there and they do what they got to do because that's the bottom line, winning, and that's what all that matters. So, yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I don't think that Tibbs and Obi have that type of thing. I think they're much. I mean, if Tibbs and Kimba can be okay, then him and Obi, they'll be all right.
Listen. I've had that kind of relationship with my son when I was coaching him.
Right. Now that definitely happens all the time.
Ron, I'm not gonna lie. I'm petty. I'm really, really petty. I'm a petty coach. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm a very petty coach. Right. I don't let my players lean up against the wall in practice. If I catch you leaning up in the wall, you got push-ups. We don't even take water breaks. You just carry your water around with you and you sip it when you need it. Because I need that little, we need those every single minute we can when we're in practice. You know what I'm saying? If you come late to practice, you got 2 up and backs for every minute late. And even if it's your parents' fault, it don't matter to me. You're late to practice. If you don't bring your practice jersey, you got 2 towel pushes. And I don't forget nothing. I don't forget nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm very, very petty. If a player is talking while I'm talking, I don't even tell him be quiet. I just turn around and say, push-ups, you got 20. And I do all my push-ups on my count. I don't let them just run down there and go real quick. It's on my count. I say, down, up, down, up. I'm petty. I'm not going to lie. And one time my son, we were in a game. We were playing some team. And I pulled him out the game. He did something I don't remember. And he waved me off. I was like, okay. So get down to the end of the bench. I didn't play. I didn't put him back in the game until it was 4th quarter. We had like 3 seconds left and we needed a 3. And then I called him up, drew up the play, and he knocked down the 3, went into overtime. We won the game. But he didn't play for the entire second half because he waved me off. You have relationships like that with your coaches sometimes.
It's how it's got to be sometimes, man. Listen, different styles, and some teams and some players, it's warranted. Sometimes you need that. And then maybe there's situations where like what was a good example for the Knicks? Woody with J.R. Smith. Woody knew that I could be hard on J.R. Smith, but he don't play the way I really want him to play. So I got to tell him stuff, but then I got to call him over to the side and say, listen, this is what's going on. Like, he always gave J.R. that extra special attention because he knew it would work for him. And I think he got the best out of J.R. Smith at that point in his career. So,
Yeah. But, it's an interesting dynamic between Coach Thibodeau and Obi.
Yeah.
Interesting dynamic. Fun to watch.
I agree. Well, here's a little. This is a little funky, guys, because it's good news. But since some time has passed since it happened, it doesn't hit you the same. But nevertheless, we still gonna recognize it. You know what I mean? Because that's how it's got to be. That's just how we give it up here at the NBA Report. And when I'm saying that, what I'm talking about is, you see it. That's right. The Bismarck Player of the Week. I wonder who y'all think that might be. You know what I mean? Because I think everybody knows who it is. Let's just get into it. Yes, sir. That's our man, Kimba Walker, who is not just, I mean, if the title Biz Marquee Player of the Week wasn't enough, he also is the Eastern Conference Player of the Week. So, he gets that title as well. I don't know which one he appreciates more, but you understand he deserves it because of his great play. He did get, first ever triple double for the Knicks on Christmas Day, which is a special feat in its own right. He also dropped a nice little 44 piece on him. So we got to give Kimba his props for having a really good basketball week. He deserves it after all of the benching and the press and everything that's just come. He's always stayed professional. And if anybody deserves to have that type of week, it's Kimba. So salute to him. Good job, Kimba. We appreciate you, man.
Yeah, no doubt. He did a great job coming back, playing with energy. He came back like he had a point to prove, which he did. That, hey, I belong on the floor. Like it or not, I should be out here on the floor. He came back and played with a vengeance. Hopefully, especially now that Randall is out, we're gonna need Kimba to play with that kind of vengeance. We need Kimba. We need Kimba to give us 20 points a night for this time. I believe so. We need him to be to help power us through.
I agree. We're gonna need him unless the Knicks make a move somehow, some way. We need everybody on this team to play their role and do what they got to do to help us out, man. And listen, Kimba does when he. One thing about Kimba, man, I got to give him credit though. Sometimes, like when he takes a shot, I feel like it's going in. I feel like that shot is money. So it may not always be the case, but that's how I feel because it just looks good.
Right, because it looks good. Yeah, it looks smooth. Looks good.
Yeah. So I give him his credit, man. He does his thing. Good for Kimba. Hopefully he can keep it going. Hopefully this time where there might be the next 2 or 3 games where he's asked to do a little bit more and take on a little bit more of the load to organize everybody, get them in the right position. Hopefully this is a good moment for him too. We got to see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. And this would be the time for him to, if he was worried about stepping on people's toes earlier, this is the time for him to get over that. Right now, you got a little bit of time. Randall's not there. You establish yourself as the leader out there on the floor. Now, when Randall comes back, he's got to respect that.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. That's definitely what needs to happen, man. And I hope that we see the best of him continue throughout this stretch. No more of these 2-point, 4-point type games. We can't see that. We need more than that, man. We definitely need more than that.
Exactly. We can't see that at all. We can't see that at all. Now, Evan Fournier is still out too, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. You know what? I hope he's back tomorrow, but I'm not sure. Maybe that little injury. See, he's got an injury, y'all. So maybe that might be affecting him too. And it's one of those things you want to be, it's you got to take your time with because you could just aggravate it, make it worse. Some people might not be so upset with, Fournier being out for a little bit too. So just just saying.
Right, but hey, to see Quentin Grimes in that lineup, obviously Obi Toppin in that lineup, the rookie starting, second year player starting.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And to get a chance to see what these guys can do right now.
Exactly. And another good thing is for these guys to really understand their role on the team. Some of these guys are kind of like, okay, you just throw me in there when there's people that are out. I don't necessarily know where to be, what to do. I'm just, out there playing. Maybe this allows them to kind of come into what they need to be for this Knicks team. I hope. We'll see.
Yeah. We'll see. Hey, Ron, I got something for you. I don't know if you've seen this or not. This is another Knicks back page, but it's about a former player. It's about a former player, all right? About Kristaps Porzingis. Kristaps Porzingis lost a fan $76,000. He lost a fan $76,000. Check out this quick video.
This is without a doubt one of the worst, most painful bad beats I've ever seen in my life. This guy, Jim James, on Twitter, had a ridiculous plus 76,000 parlay of all first basket scorers. Jaylen Brown scored the first basket. Devin Booker scored the first basket. Rudy Gobert scored the first basket. It came down to the late night sweat. Kristaps Porzingis to score the first basket to turn $100 into 76,000. And look what bum-ass Porzingis did.
Right here in Sacramento if they go right down low to the big bell.
Disgusting.
Can you believe it?
Oh no, yo, that is crazy. Not only the fact that you put a parlay for these guys to score the first basket and everybody else did it, and then Kristaps gets a good opportunity, a layup, and he wow.
I know that kid was, whoever that guy was, I know he was, oh my gosh. I know he was hot.
Yo.
He was hot. Yo. Kristaps Porzingis lost this man from a $100 bet. He would have won $76,000. All KP had to do was make the layup right there at the basket. Man, that's tough.
Wow. Yo, come on, man. Damn. I would have been I'm not a betting man because I don't win too much, but I would have been sick.
Really sick. Really sick.
Oh, jeez.
Really sick.
Damn, Sim. Wow.
That's a bad one. That's a bad one.
That's definitely Nick's back page.
He will see the video and send that guy $76,000.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's more easy to play the hush money than send it to somebody who deserves it. Just saying.
Right.
Saying.
Oh, man,
do your research, guys, if y'all don't know. No. Anyway, so I'm hoping one thing I am hoping is that maybe these Knicks, these young Knicks especially, figure out what their role could be for this team, and maybe they'll be able to play kind of like someone who is a blast from the past. Our blast from the past is Mr. Dick Barnett. After leading Tennessee State to 3 NAIA championships in a row, he was voted tournament MVP twice. And making the Little College All-American team 3 consecutive seasons, Barnett was chosen in the first round 4th overall by the Syracuse Nationals, which is now the 76ers, in the 1959 draft. Barnett used to fall back and kick his leg out when he would shoot the basketball. He earned his nickname Fallback Baby because of that style of shooting by Laker announcer legend Chick Hearn. Barnett was also known as the Skull. This man had a lot of nicknames. He played 2 seasons for the Nationals and then jumped to the Cleveland Pipers of the ABL, who were owned by none other than Yankee legendary owner George Steinbrenner, where he led them to a league championship. The sleepy-eyed shooting guard jumped back to the NBA when he was sold to the LA Lakers 3 seasons later. He was then traded to the Knicks for Bob Boozer. Mind you, he spent 9 seasons with the New York Knicks. And Barnett led New York in scoring in that first of his 9 seasons with a club record 23.1 average, and he made his only All-Star appearance in that NBA in 1968. He also won 2 NBA championships with our New York Knicks, so that alone is a hell of an achievement. He played his role. He was a role player that did the little things. He was a cleanup man. He did everything they needed him to do and helped solidify those Knicks championship teams. Dick Barnett, an unsung Knick legend. Once a Knick, always a Knick. Salute to you, Mr. Dick Barnett. We appreciate you.
Yeah, and you know what? Today, that little kickback would have been an offensive foul.
Right. Exactly. Now they call that an offensive foul. Exactly. Look at that.
Wow. You know, and now you know where Clyde gets the fall back baby jumper from.
Yes.
About it all.
That's another reason why I saw that. Yeah. I saw that. I said, wow, so this is where it comes from.
Yeah.
And obviously he was Clyde's teammate. So, you know, Clyde definitely respects all of his old teammates, man. He's got stories for days. So I'm glad we were able to spotlight one of them, the great Dick Barnett. Oh, man. Yeah, man. So as we like to do, Sim, we like to take a little time to just acknowledge the chat. So many different people in the chat. Probably can't get to everybody, but we definitely want to shout out to certain people out there. Geraldine McIver, New Yorker, Jerry Fitz. Hey, Rula, appreciate you, man. We actually met Hey Rula with his girlfriend at the watch party, Sim. He was the one sitting in the front. You know, who's a nice guy. He's got blonde hair. I don't know if you remember. He was sitting right in the front.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Very cool guy. He's working on some you know, I guess video art. He's got a YouTube channel. I checked him out. He's doing some interesting stuff. So I'm wishing him a lot of success. Thank you, Hey Rula.
Yeah, no, and you know, I'll be, you know, Ron is very politically correct. He didn't want to say the white guy. So he said the guy with the blonde hair. No, the white guy that was there.
I said the guy with the blonde hair.
No, big shout out to him, man. I'm glad you joined the chat.
yeah, man.
Whenever this, you know, COVID stuff goes away or calms down, you know, but appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Hopefully we can get back outside and do some fun stuff, because I know I have a good time when MBK puts stuff together, and Sim always has some good ideas. So I hope things slow down and we can get back out there and do some things that he's always had planned. So we'll see. Definitely salute to Jay Williams, Ala Wise, Ricky Dale, Darren Gale, DJ Space Ghost, Jeremy Nussbaum. And by the way, no pressure, y'all, but if I'm reading out your name, I hope you guys are also subscribed to Still Knicks Fans. I'm just saying. You don't have to. No pressure. Maybe I'll take my name call back. No, I'm just messing with y'all. Greg, Funky Goose World. My man, Funky Goose World. Robert Woodward, DSJ. Let me see here. Just try to breeze through real quick. Boost Mobile. Oh, Boost Mobile, my guy. Let's see. Stafford Don in the building. David L. Yeah, there's so many. Vaughn Allen. Appreciate you. Hard Will. Hector Gaston. Rose Foxy. East Blue Drew. Juju. D Public Enemy #1. Yeah, man, there's so many. Ran Rock. Yeah, East Blue Drew, I got you already. Antonio Starks. Any relation to John? You know he's my favorite Knick of all time. Just saying. Yeah. I mean, that's, you guys get the gist of it. I definitely want to salute all y'all. Damon Morgan. You know, if I missed anybody, Sherwin M. I can't miss Sherwin M. He makes his presence known. Sherwin M in the building. Be Coolest 718.
I was just on the quick little show with Devon and Shaw Powers the other day, man. Big shout out to Shaw Powers.
Yeah, That's right. Yeah, Devon and Shaw Powers.
Building upon this rock. Shout out to everybody, man. We appreciate you all for being here.
Yeah, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. Oh, yeah. And let's not forget Josh, a.k.a. Uncle Fulio, my man Jay Boogie in the building. Yeah. I'm sorry, Jay Boogie. Like, when we do these type of shows, we really, it's not really like open-ended, so we don't really throw the link in the chat and open it up because we got so much content we're trying to get out and put out for y'all. But definitely when I do the show on Saturday, or if Sim does any of his shows, you know how it is. You're more than welcome to come on, man. We appreciate you. And let me also give a quick shout out to Nikki Barrett. Nikki Barrett is definitely a long time caller and listener for MBK shows. He's always got some interesting takes. He's very vocal, so appreciate you, man.
Yeah, and I just love that name too.
Yeah. Yeah. When he came on yesterday and called in, he was like Nicky Barr. I was like, oh, Nicky Barnes in the building. I didn't know I didn't know who it was. Definitely dope. Yeah, man. Definitely salute to all y'all. G Mark, Mike Morgan. Appreciate all you guys. So I don't want to keep Sim too much longer. He's filled in admirably. Oh, and shout out to Cully and Quality Jumper and Warren Franklin. Warren Franklin, CWC. That's Charlie Ward's cousin, guys. If y'all didn't know, Charlie Ward, I like to call him the Nick Great. That's his cousin. He's a really cool dude. Definitely gives a lot of good takes. You'll find them on Blawrence Tears a lot. But yeah, Quality Jumper, salute to you. Justin L, my guy. I sound like Guillermo when I say that. Never again. Sorry. Justin L, my boy. But definitely salute to everybody. Appreciate y'all. You know what? Let me address that because you like the fifth person to say that to me. Ron is Stephanie, your sister. You guys look alike, like brothers and sisters. I've been getting that a lot, man. I've been getting me and Steph look like brother and sister, and I also look like Capadonna. So, it is what it is.
Get that DNA test done.
Facts. Yeah, man. So definitely appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back to our regularly scheduled programming next week. You'll see John, my man Jose in the background on the ones and twos, but I can't thank Sim enough for holding me down admirably. This guy is great, guys. I don't know if y'all know what a gift it is to be in this guy's presence. He's a real cool dude just as a person, and the fact that we get to work closely with him is even better, man. So thank you, Sim, as always.
Hopefully I did John some justice today.
Yeah, no, you definitely did. He's gonna have to come back and get his stuff straight. Come on, John. Nah, that's my man. So thank you guys once again for tuning in. Continue to support NBK and all of the other channels that are out there that give you that fire Nick content. But NBK in particular, salute to the controversy, salute to Knicks and Bruises. Definitely continue to watch the shoot around. My man Andy's getting back to full strength, so he's coming back, and you're gonna see him more with Sim. And look out for the new show that's gonna be a mashup between Steph from the Queen's Court and Knicks and Bruises with Tony Crow. That should be very interesting. See where that goes. So there's a lot of NBK content to look forward to.
Yeah, I think it's going to be called the crossover.
The crossover. Okay. You heard it here.
Yeah, it should be called the crossover. It should be pretty dope. Working on the content, we're working on all the graphics and all that stuff now. So it should be dope.
Yeah, I can't wait. To see. I know it's going to be dope. More fire content from MBK. And as I always say, definitely continue to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell for all notifications so you know whenever MBK is dropping any content. So check us out. And then also check myself, John, and Jose out on Still Knicks Fans. Definitely salute to all y'all. We appreciate y'all. And that's pretty much it, man. We're gonna wrap it up. Thank you once again. We are out of.
Let us know what you think about this outro. Well, it's the intro and the outro. Let us know what you think about it. So just leave a quick comment.
Yeah, definitely. You want to hit that for us, Sim?
Yeah, let's do it, ladies and gentlemen. We out of here. Appreciate you, Ron. Thank you for inviting me. We're out. Run that. Run that.